Buckle up for another episode of Ghost Facers, a supernatural rewatch podcast. My name is Richard, and sitting shotgun, as always, is my brother in podcasting, Reed.
Yeah, we got a Chicago-style episode for you. We've got your solid base of lore. We've got a nice sprinkle of fun stuff, your cheese, and we're going to slather sandwich segment over top, the sauce. That's the exact right order of those things. Chicago.
That's the worst way to do an episode, is to put that segment at the very top.
Chicago?
No, it's bad.
Oh, Chicago?
I'm going to reap you.
Oh, no.
Let's get into it.
Ghost Facers! We're facing ghosts! We're others, we're not! We're ghosts! Ghost Facers! Stay in the kitchen when the kitchen gets hot! Ghost Facers! We're facing nightmare! We're facing dread! Ghost Facers! We're facing faceless! We're facing dead!
Welcome to Ghost Facers. Today we're discussing Season 5, Episode number 21. 2 minutes to midnight.
Gonna make you feel
All right. That's right. The episode before the finale of the entire series.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it.
Crazy.
This is where it ends. Season 5.
Man.
Like it was always planned.
It's been a long road.
Without you.
I was doing the Enterprise thing.
Oh.
From there to here.
Without you, my friend.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't doing that. That's a good one.
The same song almost at the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's do a mashup that everyone's been wanting.
Yeah, the Enterprise theme and the sad song from Furious 7.
You know that everyone's been begging for it, but we have the power to do it.
Yeah, and
It's
by
time
that
to
I mean, Yo Crow, do you have the power to do it?
Please.
Please.
This is 2 minutes to midnight, which is aired May 6th, 2010.
Oh my God.
Holy shit. It was directed and it was written by Sarah Gamble.
Right.
Directed by Phila Escricha.
Screech.
Yeah, that's right. They're sort of like who I would consider this is like the secondary dream team. This is sort of yeah.
Which makes sense for the penultimate episode of a season.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if Kripke writes the finale. It feels like there's no way, because that finale is just too good.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing in the finale that's like, and fuck you, women.
Yes,
There's
no. It's too well written. Maybe it's Kripke and Edlund or something. I bet.
Did you? Okay, I'm just bringing this up just because you're bringing up Kripke. Did you see this thing that came up on Twitter where I didn't know this, but apparently at one point Kripke wrote a network TV treatment of Sandman.
No.
And
it makes a lot of sense.
Someone asked Gaiman about it online, and Gaiman was like, "Listen, it was a network TV treatment of Sandman,
Sure.
and as such, it had to lose a lot of things, and ultimately didn't feel like
Sandman.
it was enough Sandman for me to be okay with it."
Yeah.
But he was like, "But Kripke did a bang up job, given the limitations or whatever." And I think it was just it was an important moment for me to be like, because I have to stop myself from going too far down the road of being like, ugh, God.
I know.
Because I do think he is a good, like, ideas man.
Yeah. I'm an ideas man, Michael.
I'm an ideas man, Michael. I think I proved that with Fuck Mountain. I think I just need him out of dialogue.
Yes.
More than anything. Because, like, The Boys is great. Obviously, we love Supernatural.
I mean, The Boys is made for him.
I can imagine he probably put as much of the grit and stuff as he could into a network Sandman, to see what he pulled off with Supernatural.
Yeah. And The Boys is like made for him, though.
But I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either, actually. That's really interesting. I would love to see that, but
yeah, it would probably be a little like weird to watch.
But he probably didn't. Did they get a pilot out of it?
No. Because I think Gaiman was like, no, thank you.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
like I think it was like written.
Yeah. It'd be weird to see it as like a procedural, like
like Lucifer, right?
Yeah,
which is
kind of
that comic spins out of Sandman.
Well, exactly.
And it does have a network procedural adaptation.
But it is nothing like
it's
Lucifer.
It's nothing like the comic.
No. This episode was viewed by an estimated 2.53 million viewers. Pumping up. We're getting up.
My God.
I mean, I don't know if it's that response, but
oh my God.
we said they couldn't be done, and then they got to 2.53. Just wait till next week.
2.54.
Oh my, no, impossible.
You'll see. You'll all see.
Okay, well, why don't we watch the promo for this week's episode?
Sure.
I think you'll be happy with it.
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
I mean, yeah, happy's a strong term, I guess, but
Hell yeah. Don't miss Smallville. Woo, baby. Yeah, that's a great promo. Maybe the best one they've ever done, but also
they also spoiled the best moment of the episode.
They spoiled the best moment, but also that sequence.
It's just the best.
It's one of the best sequences they've done on the show to date.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, the fact that they had the foresight to keep it simple and do that and not cram Pestilence in there the way the episode does.
Yes.
You know, like I'm actually pretty impressed.
Yeah, definitely.
Good promo. Let's just leave it there.
Yeah. It's very similar to.
I'd give that promo 5 promotions out of 5.
Cool, man.
Yep. Which is the highest accolade you can achieve as a promotion.
It's
the highest civilian honor a promotion can receive.
I give it the purple promo.
Yeah, the purple ad.
All right, let's get to international titles.
Sure.
Because I got a lot to say here.
Okay.
So this is the title that is a reference to
the Doomsday Clock.
Yes, to the Bulletin of the of Atomic Scientists and their Doomsday Clock, a symbolic representation of the world's closeness to apocalyptic destruction, with midnight being the apocalypse itself. At the time of airing in 2010, the Doomsday Clock was set at 6 minutes to midnight.
Still pretty close.
Yeah.
Huh.
As of 2017, the clock is at 2.5 minutes to midnight.
Great.
As of 2020, it's 1 minute and 40 seconds to midnight.
Good Lord.
As tensions increase between United States, China, and Russia, causing the
Wait, that was in 2020?
Yes.
What's it at now?
It's at 100 seconds to midnight.
Oh, my God.
While it is not yet official as of March 12th, 2022, it is rumored the clock is being moved to 60 seconds to midnight.
Wow. Not since the Cold War.
Yep. If so, this would be the closest to midnight it has been in 75 years. The reasons for this is the number of new ICBM silos China has built over the past few years. This is going to get real depressing. Increasing hostility from Russia that has resulted in them attacking and invading Ukraine, going so far as to bomb the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. The United States military has been put at DEFCON 2, imminent nuclear war preparedness, for only the 3rd time in history. It seems the world is as close to World War III and Armageddon as it ever has been.
Oh, good.
Oh, death. Oh, death.
Somebody say.
Wow, it's kind of perfect that those two came together, actually.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, where are our Winchesters? Yikes.
Yep. So,
it's not great.
No.
If I'm being honest.
No.
I feel like none of the horsemen have had their fingers cut off.
Yeah, no. We should start just cutting off people's fingers just to be sure.
We got COVID. Thanks, Pestilence. War's obviously doing fine.
Yeah. We're...
Famine.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, even in the developed world, food prices and food insecurity generally. Huh. Well, gonna go kill myself. I didn't have a good joke to get out of there.
It's also the first track of the album released by Iron Maiden in 1984.
Yeah. Also referencing the nuclear scientists.
Yeah. Those things.
It's also the name of a cool DC Comics book.
Hey!
Sequel to Watchmen.
Cool.
Which also features the apocalypse. Oh, God.
So we've got 2 titles this week.
Oh, my God.
The first one is the Hungarian title.
Ooh, the first one's the Hungarian title. Wednesday.
Yeah, no, it's actually barely different.
Oh, okay. 1 minute to midnight.
No, that would make no sense.
To
Just a rephrasing of the same exact thing.
It's midnight minus 2 minutes.
Nope, it's 2 minutes before midnight.
Oh, okay. Well, that was close.
Yeah.
I was about as close as you could be with a guess.
But I think we'll all appreciate the nihilism of Germany.
Oh, yeah, it's already over.
I
You
mean-
can't cheat death. This is just called like something like that.
It's called The End is Near.
Well, yeah.
Interesting that Germany didn't want to use the 2 minutes to midnight thing.
Yeah, I mean, they're not especially known with nuclear, proliferation. I almost used the word Holocaust, but they're known for a different kind of that.
Yeah. That's not really our type of
I mean,
Holocaust.
frankly, the fact that they did it without nukes is part of what's
It's
so
terrifying, yeah.
horrible and evil about it.
I wonder how they would do. Let's check it out. Roll the tape.
The only people who have committed nuclear holocaust are the Americans.
Hey,
Yep.
the majority of our listeners.
Yeah,
You did it,
Yeah, you. Do you hear me? Whatever.
person.
I was just going to pull a name, but then I was worried I was going to pull a real name. They'd think it was them.
I know, because that's all I could think of as a real person. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to pick a random name.
No, don't do
I was
it,
just
though.
worried that I'm so good at guessing that
Yeah, that's your real skill.
Yeah.
You're a great guesser.
Yeah. Hey, Gregory.
I'm sure that's somebody.
There's probably one.
Gregory. Hey,
Yeah. Remember Gregory? You're the one that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
God, if somebody named Gregory is listening, it's gonna really fuck with them.
I wasn't, but my grandfather's name was Gregory, and he was on the Enola Gay. He was-
That's right, mentalist.
Oh my god.
I'm looking for a G name. Anybody here?
Yeah, and I'm using this incredible power of mine to podcast
Yeah.
and accuse people of bombing Hiroshima.
It feels like you're heading for an answer at some point or another. Featured music from this episode.
All right.
So "Oh Death," which we heard in the promo, and of course is a really famous song from this. When we actually get to introduce Death, is a cover by Jennifer Titus. "Oh Death" is a traditional Appalachian dirge that was made famous by Ralph Stanley in the 1920s and was featured in the 2000s movie "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
Ooh.
TV Guide describes this episode as Bobby trades his soul for the location of death, so Sam and Dean will have a better chance of stopping the apocalypse. Meanwhile, the brothers confront Pestilence, who unleashes a deadly virus upon them, and Dean attends a meeting with Death.
Oh my god.
But before we start talking about that episode, why don't we open up Dad's journal and learn about some of the real world lore?
Oh my god. Let's see what the lore says about death.
Yeah! I was really hoping you were going to fucking not choose Death. And
Yeah, let's see what the lore says about trucks.
Yeah, about
delivery
pizza.
trucks.
About pizza.
Yeah.
No, we're fucking going to get there, obviously. I know what this is. No, I'm not an idiot. I got to that point of the episode and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I know what this means.
Yeah. Death. Just like a mama used to make.
Whoa. That's a dark sentence.
Yeah. Yeah. Mama dropped the bomb on her.
Stop. Oh, God, Mama, were you just in the bathroom? You really dropped the bomb on Hiroshima.
I'll be right back. I gotta go drop the bomb on Hiroshima.
Hiroshima.
You know what I mean? So insensitive.
Just going to the bathroom at a sushi restaurant.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Good Lord.
So, what
And
is
if there's 2 stalls, you can also hit Nagasaki.
Yeah, sit in what you just did.
I don't feel good about it.
So, what does the lore say about death?
Right. Webster's dictionary defines death as death itself, is difficult to define in some ways. So it's obviously, I'm just going to read the beginning of the Wikipedia here because I think it's just clumsy enough to show how difficult people find defining death. is the irreversible cessation of all biological functions that sustain an organism. That's a cumbersome sentence.
I heard that organisms don't even really exist, that you can't really have an organism.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, listen, if you're going to make that joke, I will say that the sort of like old French term for an orgasm is...
it's a death, tiny death.
Le petit mort.
Yeah,
the tiny death, the little death.
Yeah.
I saw,
Because nothing has a better feeling than death.
I also saw a tweet that was like, it was like one of those like tired, wired kind of things.
Sure.
It was like tired. It's like calling an orgasm the little death.
Yeah.
And it was like wired. It's like calling death the big orgasm.
I do like that. I'm going to go to the big orgasm in the sky.
Good Lord. So, I mean, death is obviously the opposite of life, but the reason that it's so hard to define is that certainly for an organism as complex as humans, there's a few different kinds of death that can happen. If just some of your cells and stuff die, they don't call that death. They call that like necrosis, but like that word is just a Latin word also meaning death.
Yeah.
So you can have cell death, but you could still be around. You could be brain dead. Your neurological functions are done, but that doesn't necessarily mean that
Can't
all
get
of
hard.
Jesus. I was going to say it doesn't necessarily
Your
mean
Honor.
the rest of your organs have already failed.
Wink, wink.
Good Lord. You were so quick with that. It doesn't mean you can't get hard. Holy shit. Christ.
I'm not going to say the worst part.
That wasn't the worst part.
Nope, trust me.
Good Lord. But you know what I mean? So some organs could die, but not all of them. Because it doesn't all happen at once. So is it the lack of consciousness that makes you dead? Or is it when everything is dead about you? Because you need a person to die in a legal sense to harvest their organs for them to go to another body. But if the organs are dead, you could transplant them.
Yeah, it's that whole
So there's
thing,
like a tiered kind of thing
levels
about
of death.
Our understanding of death and also legal definitions of death and all these kind of like arbitrary things. And so there is no kind of all or nothing piece of it. But I think
Trust me, I know.
The big part of it from that initial description, though, is that it's irreversible.
Sure, yeah.
That's death.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, until we launch our Patreon.
That's right.
Where we conquered death.
That's right, yeah. For only $5 a month.
Yeah, you can be immortal.
Yeah, that's right. That's all we're promising.
God, it's really starting to sound like a cult now.
I mean, what better cult than the supernatural cult?
That's true. So there are many personifications of death, though. So outside the concept itself, there are lots of, like, almost every culture has some version of an afterlife, but they also have some version of a death personification. Now, some of them, death is literally like the thing that takes your life from you.
Sure.
And in other cases, and I think we talked about this before when we talked about Reapers, there's a concept called a psychopomp, which is essentially a being that just kind of guides you from one state to the other.
I think I ordered one of those online. Death. Didn't do what I wanted it to.
Yeah, that's not my bag, baby. Swedish invented psychopomp.
Yeah.
So, like when you think of like Charon, the boatman, or things like that.
God, what a Charon.
That's the
You're being a real Charon.
Yeah, I want to speak to your god. That's a psychopomp. That's ushering you to the afterlife.
Yeah.
But then there's also like the version that we think of, the very kind of like popular Grim Reaper, right? With the scythe, that's actually reaping. You're actually like severing soul from body.
Sure.
It's your time, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different things there. And what's interesting about death is that across cultures and that, there is no one description of how death looks. Sometimes it's that like skeletal kind of Grim Reaper kind of thing. Sometimes it just looks like a person. Sometimes they're more ghostly.
Sometimes they're super hot, like later in the series.
And earlier in the series.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's just Reaper.
Reaper,
Yes,
yeah.
but yes,
It's
yeah.
like, like this one.
And then also, some are male, some are female. There's a very wide variety of it. In Latin languages, the word for death is feminine. It's la mort or la muerte.
El la.
No habla español, huh? El rata lada. But in Latin America, Santa Muerte is a female.
Ho, 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 ho.
Yeah. Happy
Happy
death. Nobody wants a living Santa.
Die, Papa.
Good Lord. There's also I'm gonna really butcher the pronunciation. So
Hey,
I
how
apologize.
appropriate.
Mictecacihuatl in Aztec mythology keeps watch over the bones of the dead, and that
Nice.
god and belief system is like part of the foundation of what is now the Day of the Dead.
See what I mean? Bones of the dead. You could just because it's dead up there
Easy.
doesn't mean it has to be down
Sometimes dead is bad.
there. Oh, hey, new meaning.
Nope.
You got one more in.
I was gonna say sometimes dead is wetter.
Yeah.
Weird energy today.
Yep.
This is the normal recording time.
I know, but I'm not as dead inside as I usually am.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the origin of like the Day of the Dead, is that there's this being that kind of like there's someone also watching like what's left of you physically. Obviously, the Day of the Dead has morphed. It's about like memory and things like that. And that is kind of what keeps like souls vibrant, and that in the afterlife is being remembered.
Yeah.
And,
Oh God, that fucking movie is so good. The
Coco, but also Book of Life.
yeah, Coco I like more. But
I like Book of Life better.
oh, interesting.
There's in Korea again. I'm gonna mispronounce this.
Bring the accent.
Josung Saja escorts everyone, good or evil, to the afterlife. So essentially a psychopomp.
Yeah. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Yeah. In Breton folklore, there's a spectral figure called the Anku that portends death.
Oh, I've got a story about my uncle.
So, an Anku is like the last person in the community who died, and the idea is that if they show up, and when they show up slightly differently. They're supposed to have like a big hat and stuff like that.
Sure.
But if you see their kind of spirit show up, it's an omen that another death is about to occur.
Oh, okay.
So it's like whoever died last becomes the Anku. When they show up, another death is going to happen. They're going to pass the baton.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I'm dying.
Appropriate.
We talked about this a bit before in the episode where we talked about Reapers, but especially given how the show portrays death, it's really hard not to talk about the Grim Reaper.
Yeah. Because this show treats like Reapers as like sort of working for death.
Right.
But then the Grim Reaper is sort of the way they make death itself.
Exactly. So it's the most iconic version. It's a depiction that kind of has its roots in the Black Death, in the plague.
Yeah.
So that's the skeletal form, the hooded cloak, the scythe,
Which
was like a common agricultural tool. But it's also like as you're growing your life, if you imagine it like, wheat or something like that, then at some point someone has to come around and reap you.
Your Muppets Christmas Carol Ghost of Futures to come.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The origin of the word reaper is part of the scythe imagery, obviously. But the term Grim Reaper didn't show up until like the 18th century.
Oh, interesting.
They would just call it like death or something.
Yeah,
but it's like a literary thing that happened. They called him the Grim Reaper.
I mean, it's just a poetic way to say death.
And that's a very like Western approach to it. But I do think it's interesting in the context of the Horsemen as well, that death is in there, because death feels And the show does this too. Death feels bigger than the horseman.
Yes.
And truly, in terms of the horseman, he comes on the pale horse.
Feels like he just gets lumped in, yeah.
It does kind of feel like he's lumped in. And also, the end results of all of the other things are death.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
Famine leads to death.
Yeah.
War leads to death. Conquest leads to death. Disease leads to death.
Yeah. They're all just versions of death, yeah.
I think the idea, though, is maybe like a more kind of like eternal damnation kind of thing, or it's like the final death kind of like... I think maybe that's the idea, but it is funny to lump the pale horse in there as death, considering especially what we talked about last week, which is that like pestilence kind of isn't pestilence in the Bible. It's just like another war.
It's
so there's
glory,
kind of like from a literary perspective, there's sort of a weird thing happening with death there, but the show also, I think, catches on to that because the show also goes like, death is actually bigger than this function.
Yes.
But then the show says, and here's why.
Yes.
That we don't have that
No.
the biblical lore, but yeah.
The biblical lore. I love it.
I mean, that's what it is, baby. Hell yeah.
All right.
I was watching Rings of Power, and in one episode, someone used the word lore, and I was like, oh!
They came for me, and I came for them.
Yeah. I knew the elves of Linden wouldn't let me down.
No, of course. Jesus Christ. I fell asleep during the first episode, and I was like, this is so fucking made
Admittedly, it takes 2 episodes just to meet the characters.
Yes.
Which is not great pacing. I'm enjoying it, but I'm also a big fucking nerd.
You also like the Silmarillion, so... Which this isn't even.
Yeah, I mean, this to me is, by virtue of not just being a documentary,
yes.
It's already a more interesting way to take in history.
Yeah. Not real.
That's what you think.
It's not a galaxy far, far away.
No, it's the prehistory of our world.
Is that what the concept is?
That was the whole point.
Is this Pangea? Is that the idea?
No, but it's that there is like a Ragnarok in Middle Earth. It's called the Akalabeth. And at the end of that, when they finally defeat all of like Morgoth and Sauron and everyone forever, then Eru and the Valar and men and elves all sing a new world into existence.
Oh my god, of course.
And that's supposed to be our world.
And that's the song of Bombfom.
That's the song of Bombfom.
All right, well, with that, why don't we get into today's episode?
Yeah, let's do it, baby.
We start with the then, and we've got Adam being left behind.
Yeah.
We saw a big flash of light, and he was left in that room.
Yep.
We got Castiel being basically sent away when he sort of did his banishing spell.
Yeah, because he had carved it into himself.
Yeah. And we don't really know what that means.
Which is metal as hell.
It's so fucking cool. Gabriel and the 4 horsemen were sort of like Gabriel's warnings and sort of giving them the information about these 4
recap
horsemen.
of the plan.
That's right. Yeah, we've got Crowley offering Pestilence as like, if you guys work with me, I'll direct you to where he is.
That's right.
We get some, finally, the Croatoan. We're getting more of that information about sort of like the history of the Croatoan on the show and that virus and how that's going to play back into today's episode.
That's right.
Lucifer raising death.
Yep.
We've got Bobby's soul and Crowley, and where did they end with that?
Right where we ended last week, yeah.
Yeah, and the sort of final note is Sam talking about letting Lucifer in.
Oh yeah.
What... him spreading for Lucifer.
Easy.
And that takes us to the now, where we see Pestilence telling his favorite patient, and he's portraying a doctor basically here in a hospital.
This elderly woman is not doing well, and he's like, "That's my favorite patient." He's being very nice.
Yeah, he's good. Is that the same guy who plays the lawnmower man? Is that the same actor?
Ooh. Could be.
I think it might be.
It's funny, though, that this is... When we first see him, he's gross and sneezing and coughing and that. And then in this, he's totally clean.
I do wonder about that, yeah. Because he's not actively spreading, I guess, is the idea now.
I guess, but like...
Or he's got like a plan.
But he does give people illnesses through this episode, but he looks all clean. Whereas, like, Famine wasn't, like, sometimes fine and sometimes, like, withered.
Do you think it was just he's like, I'll do one episode, but like
this is kind of what I mean. Like, I wonder if either it was the actor or like
production,
and they were just like, it's too gross, and too much.
Do an entire episode
or
like that.
I wonder if something like that was it, because he's disgusting when we first see him in that gas station, and then here he's.
But also, they wouldn't let him in a hospital if he looked like that. Like,
well, I know, but then it's like, but then why?
I think it's a good intro, but like,
I feel like you got to pick a lane though, because I like the idea that famine kind of was famine.
I think for me, the concept for this is like maybe
if
he
had all diseases, it should look like they're all losing out of him. And I liked that intro.
Yeah.
So I think I was a little bit like, oh, like it felt like a corner cut to me.
For me, it felt like they had a cool concept for his intro, and then they were like, as they were getting into him actually like being in a whole episode, they're like, wow, shit, like he can't be in a hospital like that, and like
because it's not like this episode doesn't have gross shit in it.
No, but I think like how is he supposed to be helping? Like you're eating the crunchiest food possible. You're literally eating like the hardest. It's basic. Why not just eat corn nuts? You're eating pretzel bites on a podcast. It's like literally the worst possible food to be eating on a podcast. Also with a cough, the driest possible food you could eat.
You're saying my decision-making skills are...
It's a great snack. That's like the loudest possible bag, the crunchiest possible food, and the driest thing you could eat while having a cough. I just couldn't look past it. So my guess is
the heart wants what it wants.
Yeah, I know, even if it kills you. I think that
was pretty funny.
Yes, it couldn't. But yeah, so my guess is, yeah, they had a great idea for this intro, and then when they were like in like practice, and maybe what the idea, if you're trying to like add realism to it, maybe it's like Pestilence shows up and he's just like, I'm fucking Pestilence, and then they're like, oh wait, we have to come up with a plan, and it's like, all right, I'll fucking pull back on the grossness.
I think that was probably it. Is kind of what I mean, is that they were like, and yeah, we already did this thing with famine, let's double down on Pestilence, and they were like, actually, we have a different way we'd like to do his episode. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think it's fine, but it is a note for sure.
Yeah.
But he goes to this patient and basically lets them know that, because they're like, hey, I'm sick. Like, are you going to cure me? And it's like, well, no, you've actually got a common cold, dengue fever, and a nasty case of Japanese encephalitis and chickenpox.
So
chickenpox was added after, but
Japanese encephalitis, and then he like rubs her arm and he goes, "Oh, and you didn't have chickenpox when you were a kid."
Yeah,
there you go. And you see it,
which
like
is shingles, right? Is
you
that
see it show up? No, chickenpox is separate from shingles.
I thought when you get it as an adult, that's what it becomes. Is shingles.
I think you can. Good question. I thought you could get. I should have done the lore on shingles.
Let's do
stupid.
Well, I've got lore on all these diseases, and let's talk.
Sure,
about
let's
them.
do it.
So
hit me with your disease lore.
Yeah. Well, first I was talking about how we're close to absolute annihilation and the apocalypse. Let's talk about disease.
Yeah, that's fun to do.
While chickenpox is a common childhood sickness that is usually mild in children, it can be very severe in adults and immune compromised, especially the elderly, even deadly.
Right.
The symptoms adults have, besides the typical symptoms of rash, fever, headache, itching, and tiredness, can be severe and include pneumonia, brain swelling, bacterial skin infections, dangerously high fever, seizure, and strokes.
Good Lord.
Dengue fever is a tropical disease. Ooh.
Yes. Ooh. Are you doing steel drums?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it that kind of tropical? The tropics wrap around the whole globe.
No, it's like Southern Asia.
Oh, okay.
Tropical disease caused by the dengue virus, which is mainly transmitted by mosquitoes. It is commonly seen in Southern Asia and South America.
Okay.
Ding, ding, ding. Neither of those places.
No.
Symptoms include high fever, headache, vomiting, muscle and joint pains, and characteristics of bright red skin rash. A more severe type of disease can occur called dengue hemorrhagic fever. Hemorrhagic fever.
I watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy.
Nice. Cool. Which also caused internal bleeding due to low platelet levels. About 390 million people are infected each year.
Good Lord.
With about 40,000 deaths caused by it.
Jesus.
Though the fatality rate used to be much higher, before the vaccine was created and before modern medicine for fevers
it's
was
almost
invented.
like vaccines work.
Who would have thought? Japanese encephalitis is a viral infection caused by the Japanese encephalitis
I thought you were just
virus.
going to end the sentence there.
Caused by the Japanese. Anyways, moving on.
And that's why we dropped the...
Oh, no. Which is spread also by mosquitoes and occurs in...
Man, fucking mosquitoes.
Yeah, they're the worst. Hashtag all mosquitoes.
Yeah.
All mosquitoes are bad.
Yeah.
AMAB.
AMAB. Call me Captain AMAB.
Yeah. I know this is going to be a controversial statement, but all mosquitoes are bad.
Yeah. Other than, I suppose, being like a foundation of the food chain.
Whatever. There's other bugs.
He's right.
Hashtags not all bugs.
Hashtag all mosquitoes.
Yes.
Hashtag not all bugs.
Yeah. It occurs in Southwest Asia as well and the Western Pacific. So just like stay over here, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff over here.
Hey, bugs, go back where you came from.
Jesus.
Most infections result in either no or mild symptoms, but there can be severe cases, especially in the very young, very old, and immune-compromised persons. In these cases, the viral infection causes swelling of the brain as well, which manifests as headaches, nausea, vomiting, and seizures. It is mainly prevented by vaccinations caused against the virus. Once infection begins, there's no treatment other than symptom management. Infections that cause the symptoms is rare in modern times, but about 3 billion live in the regions the disease is found, but only about 68,000 symptoms cases are seen each year, with about 17,000 deaths.
Yeah, but I mean, that number between symptoms and deaths is a lot closer.
Totally. But yeah.
Jeez Louise. But she has all three of these, and then she gets, or all four of these.
Yes.
And then even she goes like, how is it possible to have all these diseases?
And you can't, because she's he goes, oh no, you can't, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
In about 4, 3, 2.
Yeah, and then she fucking explodes.
Yeah. Well, vomits, I think, but
still.
Yeah, it's gross. It's very much like a pea
but it's like
soup,
a green slime. It's like gack.
It's what it's like what they used in The Exorcist.
I guess. It's just, I feel like it's more vibrant.
Sure. I mean, it's also
like it's like neon, you know, it's not, it doesn't look like pea soup.
Yeah.
It looks like you ate a bunch of glow sticks.
Yeah, she got slimed.
Yeah.
It's a Nickelodeon episode.
Yeah, something inside her won a Nickelodeon award.
But yeah, that is the cold open. One of the shortest cold opens we've had.
A good one, though.
Yeah.
Pretty solid.
Totally. And that leads us to, we're inside of Bobby's house.
That's right.
And Dean finds...
We're dropping in mid-conversation because Dean is already being like, are you fucking stupid?
Yeah. We find out, Dean finds out about Sam's proposal to give Lucifer permission to use him as his vessel. Lucifer, will you take this, Sam, to be your body?
Make me the happiest vessel.
That's my Tinder profile.
Make me the happiest
vessel.
Oh,
take back control. So that's sort of Sam's idea. He's going to let him become the vessel. He's going to take back control and then jump into the cage.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is an insane concept. And in the midst of their disputes, Dean then receives a phone call from who other than Castiel, who's still alive.
Hey, Dean.
which temporarily paused the conversation. Castiel references materializing on a fishing boat outside of Delacroix, Louisiana.
Yeah.
This is actually a reference to a Bob Dylan song, Tangled Up in Blue, which contains the lyrics, "So I drifted to New Orleans, where I happened to be employed, working for a while on a fishing boat right outside of Delacroix." The song itself deals with the fallout from past decisions, a major theme of this show. Dylan's song, Knocking on Heaven's Door, has previously appeared in the episode House of the Holy and Dark Side of the Moon. Like Led Zeppelin, Dylan has recorded versions of In My Time of Dying and When the Levee Breaks, also named in previous episodes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so...
Very fun.
But Castiel's basically like, yeah, I am in a hospital.
Yeah, and he reveals he basically has like no angelic power.
He's mortal.
He's like, he feels sick. He's hungry. He can't get it. He's like, I actually need money for an airplane ticket.
Yes. Which
Dean immediately goes, Bobby will wire you the money. And I was like, to what?
Well, Bobby also was like, I'll do what?
Yeah.
Which I think is very funny. But I like because it starts with Castiel's like, I'm not okay. I'm in a hospital. And Dean's like, and?
Yeah. Go on. It's because they haven't heard from him.
Yeah. It's so funny.
No.
But he's basically like, yeah, I'm kind of fucked. Like, I don't like, he's like, I really need some pain meds. Like,
yeah.
He does though go on to apologize for doubting Dean in assuming that he was going to ascend to Michael.
Yeah, but the way he says it is like, you're not the broken husk of a man I believed you to be. And Dean's like, thank you.
It's such a great read from Jensen.
It's all played very well.
It's
because Cass is being sincere, but it's such a backhanded compliment.
You're not the piece of shit that I thought you were. And he's like, cool.
I owe you an apology. It turns out you're not a complete garbage person with bad taste and a weird hair. And thank you.
But they've now got a line on where to go get Pestilence. So.
Yeah, from what's his name, Brady from last week.
Yeah, exactly. So Dean,
Brogan, Chaz, Hunter, whatever fucking douchey bro name he has.
Yeah, whatever lacrosse team name.
Sorry if any of your kids or family members are named
Broden.
Those. Yeah.
But also like, what a great name, Broden. My name's Broden. This is my Brodan.
Isn't Broden one of the Anti-Donna guys?
Oh, yes. Yes, I think it is. So Dean and Sam now travel to Serenity Valley Convalescent Home.
Yes.
In search of Pestilence.
Yeah.
So we're going to the place where we started this episode, the same building.
Yeah. Something weird happens here.
Well,
which is, we'll get to it, but essentially the boys are like, well, we don't know what he looks like. We got to find him.
Yes.
So they go in and they kind of like fake out the security guard.
Yeah.
Dean's kind of like, can you help me find them? And he like knocks him out. And then they go into like the room with all the TVs. And they're like, we're just going to have to watch.
Try to figure it out.
It does seem like they've been sitting there a while. I'm like, do they just keep knocking
that's
that
what I mean.
Guy out?
It is a thing that I thought because Dean does like fall asleep. But the nursing home is called Serenity Valley. This was actually named. This is the name of a battle in the TV show Firefly.
Oh yeah. The ship is called Serenity.
Well, yeah, but also the battle is called Serenity Valley. Who also Mark Shepard, Crowley was on that show as well. Had a recurring role.
Oh shit, yeah, he was.
Also, Ben Edlund was the executive producer.
Oh, interesting.
And on Firefly. So there we go. Written by a terrible guy.
Yep.
Fuck Joss Whedon. So the boys.
Don't name your kid Joss.
Yeah. Or Whedon.
Yeah.
If it's their last name, change it.
It's time to abandon that family.
That's right. But then we see Dr. Green, who he's portraying. So this is Pestilence is portraying Dr. Green,
right?
Returning to this place in Davenport, the Serenity Valley Convalescent Home, claiming that his activities were quite productive to the woman that we saw from the beginning of the episode, Celeste. We're sort of like looping all the way back around to the exact same moment again,
right?
So Dean and Sam are continuing to travel throughout this facility, searching for Pestilence. They do see that Dr. Green, as they're looking through these cameras, there's a weird glitch in the screen whenever he walks around.
Yeah. But here's the thing. what happens right around here is then we see that doctor go into the room with the woman.
Yeah.
Like we saw in the cold open.
Yes.
So we're like, okay, so we saw the cold open, but now we've caught up in time to it.
Yes.
But then we skip ahead because we've already seen it.
Yes.
To just after, because then the
demonic
the
nurse.
boys are walking around and a demonic nurse like kind of spies them. And she walks
Also,
in.
she's crazy hot.
She is. And then she walks in post Gak.
Yes.
And says the Winchesters are here. So then I go, then why did we have the cold open?
Because it's just they need a cold open and it's cool. I guess.
I know, but I just mean like
they need a death.
I know, but what I mean is why it couldn't have been him going to another someone. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they deliberately set up that he goes, as my favorite patient, instead of like opening it up and it's clearly someone else. And then the nurse comes in and there's Gak and we go, oh, he's just doing this to everyone.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, they make this very deliberate, weird decision to like muddy the timeline.
Well, one of the things
I'm just not sure what it's adding. It just feels really
I think
weird.
The concept is that like he's experimenting on her specifically. Because he makes a comment that she's his petri dish, and I think that like he's using her as the experimentation.
I don't think this is like a multiple times thing though. Like the beats are identical.
No. I agree. I'm saying that like it's the concept was that it's all about her, and so
I know, but then I don't know. It doesn't work for me.
Sure.
The cold open could be what we didn't see from the end of last episode, which is Bobby agreeing to Crowley's thing or like something. You know what I mean?
I think that I thought it when I saw it and I was like, oh, cool. That was the thing from before. I was like, oh, neat.
I did. I think it's just something about how choppy it was, and it doesn't serve the story. Like we're not doing a like we see it and then we go like 1 week earlier or something like that. We're not. There's no reason to catch up to it. I just don't. It feels very awkward.
Sure.
To me.
So the demonic nurse goes to Pestilence, reports about the boys, and in their discussion, Pestilence decides that he's not going to run from them because she's like, "Hey, they've taken down 2 of your brothers."
Yeah,
and he's like, "Yeah, they have. I'm not, but I'm fucking Pestilence. Like, I'm going to take them down."
Yeah,
and so
I'm Pestilence, the most famous horseman, I guess.
Yeah, the one that people are like, "You do what?"
Yeah,
we'll change your vibe. I'm rebranded.
Yeah.
There is an interesting moment though because
I worked with an agency.
He freaks out on this demonic nurse and then is like, "Oh, it's all right. Come in for a hug." And then I was like, "Oh, is he gonna kill her?"
Yeah,
and then so doesn't. It's just hugs her and that's it.
Again,
it's a weird moment.
There are some weird beats in this episode, and I don't know if they had other ideas and then stuff changed or editing did something like. It's too weird to all feel deliberate.
Yes. But he does, in this moment, start activating his ring. He turns it and starts inflicting pain and sickness on doctors, nurses, and patients throughout the entire facility.
Yeah. Like they're getting rashes and all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And it starts to affect Sam and Dean too as they're going through the halls.
Yeah, as they get closer to the Horsemen, they too become sick, and their sickness greatly escalates as they get closer and closer to Pestilence.
Yeah, and they end up kind of passing out, and we see like in the doorway, and Pestilence is like, "Hey boys, come on in."
Yeah, because
the nurse is like, "The doctor will see you now,"
and then Sam faints into the doorway.
Yeah,
they quickly awaken, and Pestilence discusses the concept of disease with them.
Yeah. He, this is his like Agent Smith, like humanity's a virus kind of like moment where he's like, people think disease is gross or whatever. That's just the symptoms. Disease is pure.
Yes.
Like this is his soapbox kind of thing.
I mean, it's his whole thing. I get it.
Yeah, it's literally the only reason he's there.
Yeah, so he's gonna have his moment.
I get it.
He then is about to kill them when.
Not before telling that he gave them syphilis.
Yeah, which was unnecessary.
Yeah, don't you get it? The worst diseases are the ones you get from sex.
From fucking.
Shouldn't you be ashamed?
Yeah.
Don't shame fucking Dean and Sam.
Yeah.
For the weird syphilis you gave them.
Yeah, you fucking psycho.
Ugh.
Pump.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
But just, as he's about to kill them, Castiel appears.
Hell yeah.
Claiming that he was transported here by a bus.
Yeah. I was transported by a bus. And he gets because he's mortal, he's also starting to get sick or whatever. And Pestilence is gloating, which, he goes, oh man, there's not a hint of angel in you. This is amazing. I love this. A full vessel with no power.
Yeah.
Incredible. And Cass says something like, well, not no power. Or
No, he
something.
says maybe just a hint.
Oh, yeah. And he gets up, immediately cuts off Pestilence's finger, and then kills the demon nurse.
Yeah. Or he says, just a drop.
Yeah.
God,
It's a good moment.
I'd love to take a drop of angel.
Easy.
From Castiel.
Easy. It's called grace.
Yeah, fucking shoot me full of your grace.
Grace Kake.
Yeah. It's not called cum kake. Change that word.
Oh, I see. Right. Wait for it.
No, there's no version of that. Grace shot is what it would
Deus
be.
Kake? No, that's God. He's no God.
Just stop, man.
No, I'm going to crack this.
Yeah, that's what Castiel's going to say. In desperation to defeat the Horseman, Castiel cuts off Pestilence's ring finger, separating him from his ring and effectively disabling his capabilities.
Yeah.
The demon then charges at Castiel and is killed with Ruby's knife.
Yeah.
Pestilence warns them that it's too late, and then he vanishes.
Yeah.
And that is basically we're out of this facility.
And
now.
that's it. Here's the thing. All of the weird cuts and pacing things aside, and even though I complained about it last week, because last week's episode basically was nothing.
Yeah.
I do kind of like the odd episode where a thing that would normally be a whole episode happens
dealt with
quickly.
Yeah.
Like I like dropping in at the climax of a thing.
Hell yeah,
ladies.
That's an organism.
No, do you know what I mean? Like, there's something kind of exciting about. Like, it does feel like the ball is rolling. Where it's like we're like a third of the way or halfway into the episode, and Pestilence is done. And it's like we got one more.
Yeah,
and I do like that. I don't think it was managed the best in terms of the editing in this episode, and also how fucking dull last week's episode is because of it. Yeah. But when you're in the moment, it is kind of exciting to be like, oh, they killed Pestilence. You go like, oh, we still have 25 minutes.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. I like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
We then return, Dean, Sam, and Castiel all return to Bobby's house with Pestilence's ring.
That's right.
Bobby then reveals that Chicago is going to be blown off the map by death.
Yeah, and he's talking about this enormous storm and 3 million people are going to die or whatever. He goes, death will be there. And they go, how do you know this, Bobby? He goes, I got
It's weird seeing Bobby trying to be coy.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I got research.
Yeah,
whatever.
He's
He's
so transparent.
He's such a bad liar.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know.
I'll never tell.
Little bird told me.
Yeah, it's like don't you lie and then pretend you're an FBI agent?
It's so funny. And then Crowley shows up and goes like, "Oh, don't be modest. You did all the work.
Yes, exactly.
I barely helped at all." Whatever he says.
That's right. Crowley appears, and that's when Bobby finally reveals that he did indeed sell his soul.
Yeah, and then Crowley again makes the distinction of he pawned it. I'm gonna give it back, but he's like, but I'm not giving it back until we're out of the fucking woods.
Yeah.
I'm a demon, and you're the Winchesters, and Satan's out there, and I need some goddamn leverage.
I mean, I don't blame him.
I don't either. All things considered, especially for a demon, pretty reasonable. But he's like, I will give it back as soon as we're done this.
Yes. Here's a moment that I wrestle with. I don't think it's as bad as it could be.
Yeah.
But Sam asks Bobby if he kissed Crowley.
Right.
Which he denies.
And Dean is like, you made a deal? And Sam's immediately like, did you kiss him? Because that's how we've seen all these demon deals.
Because look, in that situation, I would want to know.
But immediately, Sam's first thought...
I mean, sure, yeah.
It's also weird, I think, that they give it to Sam. Doesn't that feel like a Dean thing? Where Dean's like, wait, you kiss him?
Yes.
So...
But I think if Dean says it, it feels like a weird, potentially homophobic thing. If Sam says it, he's just putting the pieces together.
I agree that Sam doesn't feel like he's being like, did you do something gay?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that way, but it also doesn't feel like a thing Sam concerned about in this moment.
Sure. This does feel like a Kripke note, this moment. It doesn't feel very Sarah to me.
No.
But
yeah, and then Bobby's like, no, and then Crowley's already holding his phone up.
I do love that.
Crowley doing that is very funny. He's like, and Bobby's like, why did you take a picture of it? Crowley's like, why'd you use tongue?
This is a thing that comes up at the conventions a lot, too.
I think Crowley's just like taking the piss
'Cause
or
it's
whatever.
funny,
and it's
yeah.
like, but like, it does, I don't know. I think I'm with you that like something about the whole thing's like, we're spending a lot of time on this. And it's like, for what? To be like, Bobby did a gay thing.
I see, and that's the thing. I don't know if...
I don't think that's the spirit of it, but I just don't know why else you would have it in there. Like, what else is happening here?
Because here's the
other
thing.
than being like, the tee gay moment.
I think that is... It's maybe 50% a gay moment, maybe even 60%, and the other half is just you kissed a demon, and that's funny. Like
I think you're giving a lot of credit.
I think if it was a female demon, like I still think it's still funny. That like it's a different type of funny.
I don't think it's funny at all, though. I think here's what I think happens if they bring it up and it was and Crowley was female. If it came up at all, it would be like, nice.
Yes.
But in this one, it's, quote, funny and only based on the idea of Bobby kissed a dude.
Yes.
So it's kind of like, I don't know, that needs to be in there.
I think the part that I do like is that because Crowley's got big bi energy.
I do love, here's my only caveat in here is I love Crowley in this.
Yes.
I think it's weird for the boys to bring it up. I think it's weird that Sam brings it up. I think it's not like a good thing to spend a bunch of time on because it's essentially only laughing at a quote gay moment. But I do love Crowley being like, men are uncomfortable having to seal the deal that way.
Yes.
We already saw him do it like under the overpass with the other guy. Like, I love Crowley's chaos energy there.
But also I think like he's got big bi energy.
Well, he's also a fucking demon. Like like he's reveling in the discomfort people have, whether or not they should have it,
I just think, I think Crowley,
and Mark Shepard plays it well, but we spend so much, like at least 2 minutes on it, and it's like, well, why?
Crowley does make a funny comment where he goes like, he's like, why did you take a photo? And then Crowley says, why did you have to use tongue?
Yeah, I said that.
I wasn't listening.
I guess someone's gonna eat a bunch of loud ass pretzels.
Good, you're punishing the podcast?
Until my demands are met.
So loud. the loudest possible food you could have chosen. You've been just eating fucking rocks. So, Dean snaps out of it and demands that Crowley return his soul. And Crowley basically says, like as we said, he's not going to do it. He's going to protect himself.
Yeah.
We then cut to...
Sorry, the pretzels.
Yeah, I'm sorry this is happening to you.
Who could have known?
The notoriously driest possible food. Use on television for comedic effect. I'm gonna make you pass out. So
stop making me laugh or enjoy any of this.
Sorry, we'll go back to usual.
Thank you.
Later, outside of the house, Sam opens up to Dean regarding the issue of sacrificing himself to Lucifer.
Right.
Which is an interesting conversation because, I mean, we're still in that, like, Sam has a lot of growth and he's like, look, I know I suck, but like...
I know, he's being he's like kind of overcorrecting though. He's trying to come in and say like, I understand where you're coming from, why you don't think this is a good idea. I've made a bunch of mistakes. I'm kind of fucked up. I got demon shit in me. I understand that. But he kind of comes in and goes like, listen, I know I'm a piece of shit. I'm the worst of us. I'm just a little fucking wimp boy.
Yeah.
And
a little piss baby.
And even Dean is kind of like, all right. Like...
Okay. No, tell me I'm bad. Tell me I'm a bad little piss
overcorrecting, Sam.
But he says, he's like, but this is the plan. This is the only plan we have.
It's like, if there's a better one, I'll do that. But until we have a better plan, this is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. So we then go to Dean, Sam, and Crowley discussing matters because Crowley shows up and they talk about the fact that there's this swine flu that's been going around, and Broden Brady Chad has basically they've been coming up with this cure, and they're like, well, why are they trying to cure a thing when they're trying to create disease? And that's when it occurs to them that the cure is the Croatoan virus.
I did have a little slight cynical laugh where it's like, their plan was to give people one disease, knowing that these people would clamor for a vaccine. It's like, man, we wrote this a while ago.
I know.
Imagine the demons doing that now, and then they'd be like, man, we just have not been able to kick this apocalypse off. These people won't take a vaccine to save their lives.
Fucking insane. Literally.
Yeah.
We then cut away from this because everybody's got a plan now. So now in Chicago, we then, because we're talking about the next step is we got to find Death.
Yeah, so sorry. So they're splitting up.
Yeah.
So Crowley and Dean are going to go to Chicago to find Death.
Yeah.
Sam and Bobby and Cass
are going to try to deal with this
are going to go to
the Croatoan,
the Nevaeus pharmaceuticals or whatever to stop them from shipping the vaccine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So but now we've cut to the best fucking introduction. It might be better than the Castiel introduction.
This sequence is so goddamn good. And I just, off the top, I have to give all of the kudos in the world to how good of a goddamn character actor Julian Richings is.
Oh, is that who this
is?
The
guy who plays Death. He is so captivating. He's so fascinating to watch. He's got all of that, like, kind of classic sort of, like, theater training.
British theater actor.
You could feel it. And he's in so many things. You've seen him in a million things. And every time, he really can, like, anchor a scene. He's got so much presence. And so this sequence of, like, the song is playing and he's walking slow-mo and the guy bumps into him and the guy just fucking dies. And then people are kind of slow-mo, like, whoa, they got to help the guy. This is like Zack Snyder's 2 Minutes to Midnight.
I mean, yeah.
This is almost exactly how he would direct a thing like this.
1,000%. It's also Julian Richings.
In a good way. I know that could be taken in a bad way, but yes. I mean in a good way. The things that are good about that.
Julian Richings also, like, has at least played Death in 2 other roles.
Yes.
He's played in the Hallmark film Miss Scrooge in 1997. And the short film Dave vs. Death in 2011. He's also played a similar role in Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief.
Is he like Hades or something?
He's a ferryman.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, originally Peter Wingfield was the original choice for Death in this episode.
Julian Richings is so good. He's in Man of Steel. He's on like the Kryptonian Council or whatever in that movie. He's in everything.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's great. But yeah, that's basically it. We just get the intro of Death. And
I just love it. Just, music, no like sound effects.
No.
Just walking. The guy bumps him. The guy dies. We see people turning. He just keeps walking. He's got that cane. We see the ring.
That car.
He pulls up in that classic car, the pale car.
Yeah. It's awesome.
It's so cool.
It's one of the best intros in the entire show, I think.
It's incredible, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to that sequence this whole season.
100%, yeah. The whole series I've been waiting for this. This is the best.
God. When I first watched that, I was like, "Oh my god."
I know. Fucking so good.
Yeah.
We then cut back to Bobby's salvage yard. Sam, Castiel, and Bobby prepare to depart to stop a virus outbreak, while Dean and Crowley go to locate Death and stop from destroying the whole state.
Right.
Before leaving, Crowley reveals he gave Bobby back the use of his legs.
Yeah, he says, like, Crowley kind of says, like, it's clear you don't make demon deals very much. You've got to word things specifically. You can get more by careful phrasing. So I've taken the liberty of adding a little clause to our agreement, and you're just going to sit there. And Bobby stands up, and he's like kind of like teary, and he's like, "Thank you," and what can I say? I'm an altruist. It kind of has like a
The reaction acting actually from everybody in this scene is really, really good.
it is good.
Even like Jared is a good one.
It's a weird moment of like happiness,
something good, yeah.
but it comes from a demon, and it's also in context of the world ending.
It's very complicated. Yeah,
I agree. I actually think it's all played very well.
I like that moment a lot.
Totally.
We then go to the van where Castiel contemplates Sam's plan to consent to being Lucifer's vessel, and then jump in Lucifer's cage while hosting.
Yeah,
him.
and Cass is like, I actually think that's a pretty good idea.
Initially Sam's just like, I know what you're gonna say, like blah blah blah, and he's like, just say it, just tell me this, and he's like,
Cass has had his own kind of like come to Jesus moment though, which is
for lack of a better term,
which is he's like, you Winchesters consistently exceed my expectations. He was like, because when we left Cass, like the last shit he said to Dean was like, you're the most disappointing fucking sack of meat. He beat the shit out of him in an alley. And like,
Cass I can't believe I betrayed.
And Cass is like, well, you didn't say yes to Michael. And then he's like, you know what? And Cass has been hard on Sam this entire time. So he's like, you know what? I clearly don't judge you properly.
Yeah.
So I actually think it's an okay plan.
Yep.
I'm sure you'll find a way.
Castiel reveals that Lucifer's older brother Michael has found and is using another vessel.
Yeah, Adam.
That's right. Dean and Sam's half-brother. I mean, it's crazy because when we first, at first we thought that he was being brought up as just like a pawn in this whole thing. And we're like, oh, maybe it's like my thought
and was... I think he was, but I think it's just...
I guess this will work. Yeah.
I think it's just the apocalypse is coming. It's too far in. And heaven is like, I actually don't think we're going to get Dean. Everything we've ever... Like, he killed Zachariah. It's like everything we've done to try and get it. Like, I don't think we're going to convince him with anything.
Yeah.
So...
They're taking Adam.
Yeah. We also learn in this scene, Cass says that, like, to be Lucifer's vessel, Sam would have to drink more demon blood than he's ever had before. He's like, what about the current guy? And he's like, oh, he's drinking gallons.
And it was just like, I mean, this is interesting, right? Because
it's supposed to, like, bolster the vessel so he doesn't explode or whatever.
It's been interesting because the conversation about demon blood obviously has come through this series a lot in this podcast. And I don't know if the show ever fully decides what it is, because there was that one moment where we thought, oh, the blood was more of a placebo effect, right?
And I don't know if I thought it or you thought it. That it was
placebo.
I thought it was placebo. Yeah. You were like, I think it's Ruby being shitty. And coming now, it's like, you're right.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, you need to drink this. But then it's also like, but Lucifer is an angel. That, like an archangel, very powerful one.
Yeah.
They're not making Adam drink demon blood.
It's
like
weird,
the demon
right?
blood thing is like, no, don't do that. But it's like, to hold Lucifer, an angel, you must drink demon blood. But not for Gabriel.
Yeah.
Or Michael. Or Raphael.
Yeah.
So it's like.
It's a weird line.
It is kind of. It does feel like it's just in there to tie something together, and it doesn't have the same sort of like rigor of other lore.
Yeah.
It feels like it was just like, we should, we've kind of talked about Croatoan. We got to get, like, what else would we bring up? Demon blood. Let's bring that back. To make it more of a bad idea for Sam, right?
Yes.
Like, I think, and I just think there's not the same amount of, like, care
consistent lore
put in to the lore.
I fully agree. Yeah, it's a weird one. But they get to the distribution center.
Yes.
They notice that the demons are loading the vaccine into the market.
Yeah, and they've got all these trucks, and Bobby's like, okay, here's the plan. We put C4 every so many feet. We're gonna blow this whole thing. We've got an hour before the truck leaves. And then they're like, hey, the truck's leaving.
And we get the first time that Bobby ever says the phrase balls.
Is that the first time?
The very first time.
God, it's good. Yeah, balls.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. Why would you wait to drop that to the end of season 5?
Who would have thought balls would have so much like gravitas?
Hey, on this show.
But yeah, so they enter the market and dispatch a shitload of Croatoans.
Yeah, but there's also regular people in there too.
They let them escape.
They're saving them, and there's this moment that I kind of misread, even though I've seen this episode before, where Sam is saving people, and it kind of looks like Bobby is like suspicious of Sam.
Yeah, he's just like, wow, he's being ruthless.
But then we learn later that Bobby is like, man, Sam was like, what a hero. He doesn't even flinch. He's just in there fighting zombies and saving people and doing all this kind of stuff. But in the moment, I was like, does Bobby think Sam is infected? Like,
oh, I thought he was just thinking that he was being ruthless.
Yeah, there was something there that I read it as Bobby being like, that's the darkness, as opposed to it being the inspirational thing it kind of becomes.
Well, especially when you
episode.
know what next season brings. I think.
Well, yes, yeah.
For me, the thing was like, wow, he's being like really like ruthless.
Yeah, right.
And there's like I mean, they really let like Sam look like a badass here. Like he even does like a swing around with the gun.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah, he looks great.
Yeah, he's really like, cause it makes Bobby kind of look useless.
Yeah.
Like this scene, like I don't think unintentionally sort of makes Bobby look useless. Like
a little bit.
It's like weird. I mean, it's an interesting show it's an interesting thing that this entire series does, which is like slowly makes the boys look more and more capable.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, and I think like this moment is also like, oh yeah, they're like tactical fighters now.
Yeah,
like the way that like Sam moves throughout a room is the way that like a soldier would. Like,
totally, yeah.
And I think like they really allow him to look like a badass in this scene, and it's really just exists to basically show him like kicking ass and being a hero.
Totally. Yeah.
But now we cut to Dean.
They've also they've blocked the gate so none of the trucks can get out. They've so they're going in and doing all that.
We then cut to Dean and Crowley in search of the last horseman.
Yeah, they're at like a warehouse, and Crowley's like, he's got to be here. This is like, consider it like his stable. Plus, there's Reapers everywhere, and there's a good camera move past their shoulders, and then you see where before there was nothing. There's all these Reapers just like standing there.
Crowley
it's very creepy.
Does ask Dean if he wants to stop for pizza on the way to where Death should be, which is funny because later on they discover that he's in a pizza restaurant, which is a weird line.
Well, but maybe it's just, Chicago style pizza.
But Crowley bashfully admits that he was mistaken in his assumption that this is where Death was. He's like, oh, I fucked up. It's a weird moment because it's just like, oh, I guess it's not it.
Yeah,
I don't know what purpose it serves in the story.
I agree, because you could just have all the Reapers in the street.
Yeah.
Outside that restaurant and be like, he's in there, and then just do it.
Yeah, I don't know what the purpose of the moment is.
Again, there's so much of that in this episode.
Yeah. They get back into the car, and then suddenly Crowley is outside of a pizza restaurant and goes, he's
like mouthing like,
this part is funny.
Here. Dean's like, what? And then Crowley's back in the car. He's like, I said he's there.
It's very
and
funny.
then Dean gets out of the car, and then he turns back to say, are you coming too? And Crowley's gone again.
Yeah.
I do like how liberal Crowley is with the like teleportation.
It is very funny. I do like
they
do
play
like
it really well with him, that he's like he doesn't wait around. He's not polite. He's just kind of, I do like it.
We then cut back to the market, and Sam is brought to the ground, caught off guard by a Croatoan zombie.
Yeah, Bobby's out of bullets or something.
Yeah.
And then Cass out of nowhere with a like kind of sawed-off shotgun or whatever blows the head off.
And he's like, this gun's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a weird moment.
Maybe I'm a gun guy now.
Yeah. I do like it.
Yeah.
It's a good scene.
I believe I'm pro Second Amendment.
We then cut back to Dean at the pizzeria.
Yeah.
Coming through the back.
Very creepy. And everyone's dead. It like servers, but as he's going through, and it's
the amount of tension in this moment.
It's so creepy.
This entire fucking scene.
A thing we haven't mentioned is that Crowley gives him a scythe and says, this is one of Death's. It can kill angels, demons, people, horsemen, apparently even Death. And they're like, how did you get this? And he goes like, yeah, King of the Crossroads.
Yeah.
So Dean has this thing, and he's slowly working into the pizza joint, and Death is just sitting there in the middle of a room full of dead people, sitting with his back to Dean, and Dean walks closer, and then the thing like heats up, the scythe heats up, like
burns hot.
Yeah, and he drops it, and Death goes, thank you for returning that. And where it was on the ground, now it's on the table next to Death. And you're like, oh, Dean is so out of his depth.
It's interesting because I've seen this scene so many times, but the moment that I really love is because he drops it, and I didn't notice it because I see him drop it, and then it like he goes, thank you for returning it, and then Dean looks at the ground and it's not there, and then he looks at the table. But actually before Dean looks at the ground, it's already on the table. Like if you actually look at the scenes, like it like the second it touches the ground, it's on his table.
Right.
Which I think is really cool. But he's like it's so fucked because he's like, why don't you like join me like eating here? Like
yeah. He doesn't even turn around. He's just kind of like, come join me, Dean.
There is a note that the pizza Death is eating in the Chicago pizzeria is a deep dish pizza, which has been around since the 1930s.
Chicago style.
That's right. Deep pan, thin crust, sauce on top instead of cheese. The longer
Sauce
cooking
on
time,
top.
I know. The longer it's a fucking bastard pizza. The longer cooking time would burn the cheese on top, which is why you put the sauce on top. That's why. It is more pie than pizza, though.
Kind of sounds like we don't know how to make pizza, so we made a thing that will work.
Yes.
Yeah.
The way we're doing it isn't working. Let's just ruin it.
Yeah. Should we make it the way that
Everybody else is?
No. Keep tinkering.
Though I will say, this pizza looks really good.
It looks fine.
Are we not doing a thing?
Not yet. Just wait.
Jesus Christ.
Dean sits down.
So Death mentions that he is very old and states that in comparison to him, the universe and the earth are barely out of their diapers. Were you going to do it at that moment, or did I remind you? Oh!
This is for all my sandwich sluts out there.
Hit him! 1, 2, 3, go! Never mind. You're right. This was the better way to do it. I'm glad that that's the moment you waited for.
I may have forgotten.
How have we gotten to the point of the end of season 5 where I'm telling you to do it now?
Hey, it's in your bones.
I
now.
hate this.
How could we do an episode without it?
Oh my god.
It's time for the supernatural sandwich segment.
Pizza.
No.
What?
Don't worry about it. You're sitting down across from Death.
Oh my god, okay.
You get to order one sandwich before you die.
We have an opportunity to talk about pizza, and this is the...
Is pizza a sandwich? Is this the supernatural pizza segment?
Oh, is that what you're going to say? Because I could bring back to the last few fucking episodes.
And they've all been great.
They've all been sandwiches?
Yeah, probably. I don't remember.
No.
What would you order?
What would I order as my... Is this...
Like, think of it as like, this is like your death row sandwich.
My death...
You're definitely going to die. What's your last sandwich?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know what it would probably...
You and 13 apostle friends go out for the last sandwich.
It's probably what is called the so this is a sandwich that was served at was on the menu at a restaurant that I worked at with, which was I don't know if I've talked about it on this podcast, but I've definitely talked about it, but I must have talked about this. This was the Irish restaurant. This is an Irish pub owned by an Italian.
Right. Yeah.
Omaggio's
Amazing.
Kildare House.
Amazing.
Yes. So it's one of my favorite places I ever worked. But the food was really good there. The chef was really great, and they had this a club sandwich that was called the Pub Club there.
Okay.
And it was the fucking best sandwich I've ever eaten. And it was really simple. It was a pretzel bun.
Oh God. Yeah, already.
Yeah.
Love a pretzel
bun. It was 2 chicken breasts, like just grilled chicken breasts.
Yeah.
Bacon, cheddar cheese, mayo, red onions, lettuce, and that's it. And it was
That sounds good.
simple.
Yeah.
It was but it's my favorite sandwich. And the pretzel bun was so salty, and with like a lager, it was just like the best meal.
Hell yeah.
And I think about that sandwich at least like once a month.
Oh, Mosquitoes. So fucking funny.
It's the best.
It's such a good name. God, what would my final sandwich be?
The final sandwich.
I think my final sandwich would be
one that kills you.
Well, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that I eat on the toilet, Elvis style.
This is you across from death, and he's like, "Oh no, but I wanted to do it."
Death usurped by me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how the rules work. If you sit and have lunch with death and you kill yourself, you become death.
That's right. I am become death,
Yeah.
eater of sandwiches.
Yeah, God, final sandwich. I think I'd go slightly sloppy. I'd go,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'd slop it up.
Oh yeah. Sloppy boys.
Sloppy steaks, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would go like a pulled pork or something kind of pulled shredded, but with like a Nashville hot kind of. Oh, actually, that's what I'm doing. Like a shredded chicken or whatever, but with like a Nashville hot kind of thing.
You really prefer shredded chicken over a breast?
Or just like, I just like the, like, I would even get like when we went to Meat and Bread, right? And it was just like right off the rotisserie and they just kind of, I like
that fucking sandwich.
I like it pulled apart.
Is that sandwich your last sandwich?
I mean, it's up to, I'm actually thinking about what I'm about to describe, and it's very close to that. It's like a kind of pulled apart chicken,
Yeah.
very, kind of spicy sauce, a really good coleslaw is what I was going to say on the top of it, and maybe throw, like some good pickles in there, a nice Dijon mustard, a mayo, all those things in there. Fuck, I think I'm describing the sandwich we had at Meat and Bread. Man, I've outlived my final sandwich. No wonder I'm depressed.
You haven't had the porchetta sandwich there, though, yet. Fuck.
That's
Jesus
true.
Christ. That might be my second.
Next time.
Yeah.
I'm going to Vancouver later this month. So.
I know. You've talked about going to Meat and Bread if you can.
Yeah, I might. So, I guess if you're listening, proprietors of Meat and Bread in Vancouver, I'd like to kill myself in your restaurant.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
Yeah, take a number.
Yeah, literally, that's how this works.
I was going to play the outro, but I couldn't make it work on my phone. So that
Good.
was the Supernatural Sandwich segment.
Wow, the clunkiest one yet. I can't wait for the final one.
Hey, we're almost at the finish line, baby.
Fucking tripping through the finish line. Fucking couple Jerry Lee Lewis's here. All right, well, but we get back to the death conversation.
Pizza is kind of like the sandwich of being flat.
Wait, what? Did you have a brain aneurysm? Wait, what? What was that sound? Jesus Christ. You were fucking unhinged today. Pizza is the sandwich of being flat. What?
Going to the washroom.
Good idea.
Too many things I stand by what I say.
That's right. Pizza is the sandwich of being flat.
Everyone says that.
But
I think my life's at 2 minutes to midnight.
let's get back to the conversation with death.
Yeah. Dean sits down and Death says, "Do you ever think about how pizza is the sandwich of being flat?"
That's either the dumbest or the truest thing you've ever said.
How do you measure death? Is it brain death? Am I already dead?
But basically Death tells him, he's like, imagine if like bacteria came up to you and was trying to like give you fucking sass.
Yeah, he's like, I don't think about you at all.
Yeah.
What's interesting about this conversation is it is one of very few times in this series that we get the sense of the universe beyond Earth.
Yeah.
Where Death says, like, you are one miserable species on one little planet in one solar system in a galaxy that's barely out of diapers.
Yeah.
I am old.
Yeah.
And then you go like, oh, shit. You're
It's
like,
one of the fucking...
You're like, Death is like, I had to blow up Krypton.
Yeah, like, this is one of the raddest fucking lines ever. Like, it's...
And delivered so well. Again, Julian Richings, just incredible, but...
The gravitas and fucking tension here. Like, Dean immediately goes, I'm way out of my depth. And he's just like, yeah.
He's like, I'm old. And, you know, and he talks about, like, I'm older than God. Or maybe not. Neither of us remember anymore. You're like, bro knows God.
Right?
He's like, one day I'll reap him. And Dean's like, what? And he's like, yeah, you know, God will die.
It's like...
It's so metal.
Jensen also is playing this so well. It's the first time that Jensen's like,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, truly, Dean is like,
He's choosing every moment so carefully.
But this comes back to the thing that we were talking about before, because then where this goes is Death is like, and the idea that I'm shackled by fucking, like, Dime Storm magic that Lucifer pulled on me. Because you also know, like, Lucifer probably did some sort of... We saw the ritual in that. It's like, it's not like peasant magic, but to Death, he's like, this little flimsy fucking dollar store bullshit is trapping me. It's like, that pisses me off.
He also makes Dean eat, which is like such a good moment because he's like, eat.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah.
And watching him
like
eat it.
It's like the sandwich of being flat.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's what he says. And then he eats the pizza with a knife and a fork, you know, the way you fucking eat pizza.
I guess in Chicago.
Yeah, because that's how people eat pizza.
Hey, I had a great day in Chicago. I ate pizza, a deep one, knife and fork.
Yeah. And
then Dave Matthews Band dumped 800 pounds of human shit on me.
True story.
Chicago.
It's funny because he's watching Dean eat and he's like, is it good? And it's such a great piece of acting because Dean's just like eating it and you get the slightest little eyebrow raise. It's just like this actually is pretty good.
Yeah.
But like it's so subtle.
Yeah.
It's acted so well because he's both terrified, but it's Dean, so he's also like he loves food.
I mean, everything this is maybe I would say one of the best scenes between this and the slow-mo thing we already talked about. The death scenes in this episode are maybe some of the best scenes in the series.
1000%. Yeah. It picks up this entire episode. Like,
because otherwise this episode is headed for train wreck territory.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just like this one fucking scene is so well acted that it's like, and so well written.
Yeah.
It holds the entire the rest of this episode up with itself.
Totally.
It's and basically he's like, so you want my ring, right?
Yeah.
And Dean's like,
when he's like, I'm inclined to give it to you.
And Dean's like,
but I've got conditions. And Dean's like, okay, they are.
And he's like, you need to let Sam do it.
Yeah, he goes, you will do anything you need to.
And Dean's like, yeah, obviously. And he's like,
to make sure that Lucifer goes back in that cage. He goes, no, like, understand me. There's no brother sacrifice thing.
Yeah.
You will let Sam jump into that fucking cage because I'm Death and I'll find you.
And he's just like, he tries to say that like that might work, and Death's like, no, it'll work.
Yeah.
It'll, like, I know it'll happen.
Yeah. And then as the scene ends, Death, like, Dean agrees and whatever. And then Dean's like, Death's like, is that a yes? And Dean's like, yes. And as the scene ends, then Death is like, now do you want the instruction manual?
Yeah.
Oh, man. And I here's the thing I love about this. The thing we were talking about Death being this bigger cosmic thing. Like, the Horseman thing seems below his station, and the idea that this show is like it is,
Yeah.
and like Death is not happy about being like leashed to Lucifer in this way. Like, I really love that setup. And he's
It's
like, that's why I
great.
couldn't come to you.
Yeah.
That's why you had to come to me. Dean's like, what about Chicago? He's like, I can live.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
You know, like everything's so casual. It's like 3 million lives, whatever. Like,
yeah.
It's,
he works on such a grander scale that it's like
it's incredible.
So, a funny thing.
Okay.
So Julian Richings, who playing Death, later on complained jokingly in several interviews at conventions about shooting of this scene.
Okay.
Because it had to be reshot numerous times with both him and Jensen having to eat more and more pizza each take.
Eat it.
I love the idea that he's just like, fucking Julian, I can't just eat pizza all day.
And even for something flat like pizza.
Okay, you need to stop. It's back at Bobby's house.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
That people say.
Uh-huh.
I've heard it said.
Jesus Christ, get some more oxygen to your brain.
I'm sure it's fine. Who needs that thing?
Back at Bobby's house, Dean tests the ring, activating them, forcing them to conjoin, forming the key of Lucifer's cage.
Yes.
Then Dean and Bobby discuss the plan. Bobby is starting to agree with Sam.
Yep. And this is where Bobby has this speech where he's like, listen, we're hard on him, and we always have been.
Yeah.
But, like, I saw him today, and
he's a hero.
He's a hero. He's a badass. He's been, like, hunting demons and shit like that, like, or ghosts or whatever, since he was, like, 12.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a little punk. Like, he's got darkness in him. I'm not denying any of that, but we also, like, we got to go with him. Like, we got to trust him on this. And Dean is kind of like, I know, you know.
But Dean also says, what do you think is going to happen when you find out that when Death finds out you lied to him?
Well, no, Dean says, what do you think would happen?
Yeah.
And it's because Dean doesn't want to let Sam go.
Yeah.
And Bobby is kind of be like, I think maybe
we need to.
Don't lie to Death.
Yeah.
Let Sam do this thing.
And Dean and Bobby's final line is he asks Dean if he's more afraid of losing the war or losing his brother.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode.
I mean, God, that's the crux of the whole show. Isn't
Yes.
It? Yeah. There's also a line that we didn't talk about before the two teams kind of split up, right around where Bobby gets the use of his legs back, where Sam says, like, don't you, do you remember when we used to just, like, hunt ghosts?
When he says hunt things like Wendigos.
Yeah, like
which is the
yeah.
first episode, so it's fun.
Yeah, he's like, good times.
And it's like, buddy, you don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, truly, yeah. Man, that's the end of the episode. What do you think about this episode? Because I am deeply conflicted.
It's that one fucking scene holds up this entire episode. Like, it's like if I was going to give people like 5 episodes to watch, this would be one of them. Like,
yeah, of the whole series. Yeah,
you can't, as clunky as the rest of this episode is, like, that one fucking scene is worth the entire episode. Like, it's like, how do you rate it poorly when it's got one of the best scenes in the entire series in it? Like,
so I agree, and this is where I'm conflicted, but also on its own, you take those scenes out, and how was that episode going?
Well, here's the thing: how it's going and how it was done are two different things. Which is like, the acting in this episode throughout the entire thing is really, really good. Like, there are no weak acting points. It's written kind of clunky and filmed kind of clunky, but it's really well acted.
Sure.
From top to bottom.
Yes.
There are really good like reacting and acting moments. There is like the actor who plays Pestilence is so fucking good.
I agree.
Fucking nurse demon, Jesus Christ.
Easy.
I think that like Jared has never been better. Like, Jensen's never been better. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Everybody is doing well.
Performance-wise, solid all around.
I can't.
Plot-wise, this episode's a little all over the place.
It's a little all over the place, but also, like, it works. like they get across the thing it's trying to do. Like
yeah.
Like it's not like you can't look at the episode and go, well, that didn't make any sense. Like all of the things happen,
but then one level down, like editing, dialogue, that's really weak in basically everything other than the death scenes.
Yeah.
But the death scenes are so good.
This is what I mean. Like,
but I can't be like, this is a great. Here's the thing. I will admit, for quite a while now, I've said I like this episode better than Swan Song, better than next week.
wow. And it's really just the scene.
It's just how good those death scenes are. The rest of the episode is not good.
I have no choice but to give this episode.
We always have a choice.
I can't give it 5 because it's
obviously.
But what's crazy is that it's one of the episodes I would recommend. But at the same point,
Totally.
It's also it itself as if we're reviewing this as a whole.
Yep. I
have to give this 4.5 slices of real Chicago pizza.
Wow. 4.5.
It's just because it's so good. Like that scene is too good. Like I can't. It brings it all ships rise. Like, are you gonna like?
I'm. Well, I've already said why I'm conflicted about this. The front part of this episode is a mess.
Yeah.
The editing, the timing, like the cold open versus where we are. Why is it even set up like we're catching up to it? Like,
yeah,
so many pieces of it don't work and don't make sense. The dialogue's kind of, and we have that stupid fucking moment with the, did you kiss him? Like that shit. The stuff where they go to do the truck is like fine, but it's also like Cass is like not there for most of it, and then he shows up at the end with the gun, which is fine. Bobby kind of looks not that helpful. Sam looks great.
Yeah, I mean they have
sequence.
to juxtapose him. Yeah,
and I understand the why, but like, also then we like that scene just ends, and later we find out it's like, and we stopped it. Like, we don't even see them blow up a thing or like.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
We leave a lot on the table.
Yeah.
And it feels like instead of last week's episode dragging so fucking long on nothing, we could have used that space to give these more important, more exciting things more time.
You're not wrong.
And it feels like a rush. Even just the like, you didn't wish well. Like we didn't see Bobby say yes to Crowley.
No.
We didn't actually see that happen.
No.
But why is it off screen? And then it's just off screen, and then Crowley goes, and legs back. It's the season finale.
I know. Yeah.
Like, they're performing it great, but everything about this is like oh fuck, this episode and the next one, that's it.
Yeah.
And it's a rush, and it's sloppy, and I wish it was just those death scenes. Oh man.
I know.
What am I going to do? Those death scenes are some of the best Supernatural ever gets.
Yes.
And I just want to say that so it's said unequivocally.
Uh-oh.
The rest of the episode is not that good.
What are you flattening this out like a pizza to give it a review?
Oh, right. Yeah. The sandwich of being flat.
Yeah.
I think I'm giving this episode.
Oh, no. Don't do it.
I'm giving this episode.
Don't say it.
3.75.
Oh!
3.75
wow.
hastily returned sides. No, that's too low. 4.
There it is. Oh god.
Flat 4.
Oh my god.
But all of that 4 is 2 scenes with Julian Richings.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's in the Golden Scythe Club.
Yeah, it's in the Golden Brothers Club.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
You read my script.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's tough. Because I think you put that up against other episodes that we say are like flat 4s or 4.5s. And again, other than how good those scenes are, The other episodes are more consistently
Yeah.
good. You know,
Wow.
the Antichrist episode.
Sure, yeah.
Or the Curious Case of Dean Winchester.
Mhm.
Or what's another one in the 4s? And I'm trying not to go for 5s here. What's another one in kind of My Bloody Valentine?
Sure, yeah.
You know? Yeah, it's tough.
Wow. That was our review. 2 minutes to midnight.
Oh my God.
But we're not done because we've got a note from a fellow
Hey,
hunter.
love that.
Who goes on to say, "Hey there. So, I don't know whether this qualifies as a review or a note from a fellow hunter, but categorize this as you will. I just binged all your episodes and am finally caught up. I love this podcast. I have tried listening to several others, including the big name one. And honestly, nothing compares to you. Insert Sinead here.
Sinead.
Oh, okay.
Like Sinead O'Connor.
Oh,
Nothing compares
Oh, sure.
to you.
I listen while I'm at...
Sinead. Oh, God.
How often do you see the word Sinead
All the time.
in your fucking playlist, I'm sure?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You literally are your mother.
Yeah. It's been 7 hours and 15
I thought you were doing, it's been a long...
1 week since you looked at me.
I was doing, it's been a long road, but
Oh, yeah, I should have tied it back.
Jesus.
Whatever.
Fucking pizza, right?
Hey, this episode's kind of like a sandwich. In a way, I'm sure.
Yeah, except for that you didn't. It's an open faced sandwich.
Dropped on the floor.
Yeah, in that you didn't put the top back on. I listen while I'm at work and have caught many stares for laughing out loud. You have successfully invaded my psyche too. As I had a dream, I was at a barbecue with you guys, and you knew I was a real fan based on the fact that I said baby the way that Reed does.
Baby.
I don't have a particular area of expertise to impress you with, but I am a pop culture junkie.
That's fun.
In one of your earlier episodes, you had commented on the names of Jensen's kids and were confused by Zeppelin as a name according to an interview Jensen did. They named him after the Zeppelin knot because the umbilical cord was wrapped around him at birth and symbology of it being an anchoring knot.
Oh, geez
Good
Louise.
God. Just make it the band, man.
Or just say that.
Yeah, God.
Oh, goodness.
I know you have...
Yeah, I named my kid Noose.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Because I almost killed myself when I found out my wife was pregnant.
Jesus.
I know you haven't been impressed by the previews for most of the episodes so far.
True.
But I know coming up is the preview for 2 Minutes to Midnight.
Listen, you called it. Loved it.
And I still think about to this day. The song choice and the impending introduction of death had me pumped for this episode all those years ago. And it's the only preview for a TV show that I can recall to date. I'm a proud lore whore.
Yeah, baby.
So I would love to give you guys 5 out of 5 Dad's journals. But I really don't enjoy the sandwich segment. Sorry, Reed, I love you.
How is that even possible? It's the best part of the show.
So I'm giving you a 4.75 out of 5. Anyways, keep doing you. Sincerely, a very entertained listener, Tara.
Huh.
Oh, Tara, I love you.
Do you know what? If you don't have something nice to say, you don't have to say anything at all. No one made you write in. Feels kind of cruel.
Love it. Oh, I'll take the 4.75.
Well, you'll be happy to know that the sandwich segment will not be a regular thing after season 5. It may rear its ugly head once in a while.
Because maybe we see something in the future that's going to require it.
But I guess we'll... yeah, I guess this is real. I guess we're going to...
Sing a swan song for...
Yeah. Yeah. Swans are kind of like the sandwiches of birds, if you think about it.
No, explain it. Explain it.
They know what it means.
Well, if you think you know what it means, you can have that conversation with us on our
Or
Discord.
don't if it's mean.
No.
Don't have the conversation.
If you got something mean to say,
You're
why
gonna
don't
say something mean like I love your show generally, but not this one specific thing Reed puts a lot of time and effort into.
Yeah, you put a lot of real time into the thing that you almost forgot to do today. Why don't you tell them how you really feel about the sandwich segment like everybody else does on our Discord?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying not to cry.
Yeah, or cough.
Shut up, man. If you go to patreon.com/ghostfacers for only $1 a month, you can join Angel Radio, our awesome Discord server, where we have fun conversations and lots of great people in there and share our SPN love and talk about how great and flawless the sandwich segment is.
We did have a new listener come on and immediately share a sandwich photo, and they were heralded.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, as they should be.
No, I love that we're getting out of this.
This is an absolute assault on my character.
Not the sentence about a pizza. Also, if you want to be like Tara and have more criticism of this show, why don't you send us an email to ghostfacerspodcast@gmail.com. Jesus Christ. The loudest food possible. Or reach out to us through our various social media platforms.
We're at Ghostfacers Pod on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and wherever feed you get this. Would you stop? Whatever feed you get the podcast, make sure you subscribe there. It helps us out. But also it gets automatically into your feed every single week. Give us a 5-star review while you're there, and we'll read that review on a future episode of the show. That really helps us out as well, even more so. So why don't you do that? If it's not on Apple Podcasts or something like Facebook, make sure to take a screenshot and send it to us so that we can review it. We can review that on a future episode of the show. Also, if you want to show your support for the sandwich segment, you can wear a shirt that is found on our merch store at ghostfacerpodcaststore.com.
Yeah.
Get it while you still can.
What? How dare you? Yeah, just wait until next season's amazing segment I've been planning.
Oh, God. Also, if you like what we do here, you might like what is found on our other podcast, the Dr. DC podcast.
Yeah, we talk about DC Comics and the lore of superheroes and stuff over there. My mouth is full of pretzels. If you enjoy how we talk about stuff on this show, you might enjoy how we talk about comic book stuff over there.
Award-nominated podcasters. Bringing pretzels to a podcast record. Also, the loudest form of pretzel, which is these giant fucking nuggets of pretzel. Say goodbye, bitch.
Sure.
This was a Brain Freeze podcast.